Good evening, good afternoon, bonsoir, buenas noches to investors in North and South America. Ohio gozaimasu. 안녕하세요,各位早晨. Good morning to investors in Asia. Buenas noches, buenas noches, good night to investors in Europe and Africa. I'm Daniel Yu speaking from Hong Kong. It's 22nd May here and 21st May in Wall Street. This time, I have 4 main points to talk about. Number 1, G7 Hiroshima Summit. Number 2, will Samsun overtake TSMC? Number 3, outlook of Ukraine. Number 4, market situation, and then stock recommendations. Subscribe, like and share. Remember to click the bell please. Watch our playlist again so as to grasp the continuous trend of the market and refresh your mind. As for Hiroshima, again it became the focus of the world since the atomic bomb of 1945 because of the G7 summit. It has a lot of topics to discuss, including climate change and global invasion. But one thing is sure, that it will make a clear cut of the camp that China and Russia will be on one side and the G7 EU, AUKUS and the West will be on another side. Mind that besides Ukraine, a lot of countries are invited as outstretched countries such as Australia, Brazil, India, Indonesia, South Korea, Vietnam, African Union and Pacific Island Forum representatives and other international organizations. For the schedule, you will not see all countries turn up together to talk. They would be divided into the trunk meeting of G7 for several sessions, and then G7 and outstretched countries, and then further divided into 2 groups and 2 sessions meetings. G7 blame Russia for aggression and must withdraw troops according to the resolution of the UN. Blame but not named countries giving supply to Russia to skip off the sanction. This is the first warning. Before the opening ceremony, the US came to a free trade agreement with Taiwan, and the UK had a joint agreement with Japan to prevent China from military aggression against Taiwan. But at the same time, China hosts a Mid-Asia summit of 5 countries to stand against the G7. During the US presidential election of 2020, because of the scandal of Hunter Biden, people thought if Joe Biden is elected as president, he would be controlled by China and every policy will be pro-China only. So those little penguins are extremely happy about his winning. But now Joe Biden's policy is even stricter than Donald Trump. He united not only the Western world, but also tried to unite the Third World, where China focused on and is part of, to stand against China. Donald Trump likes to withdraw from WHO, climate change, and North America trade agreement as a negative objection. But Biden would unite all efforts to face it in a positive manner. The G7 in Hiroshima is a landmark for the West press China to ask Russia to stop the military action in Ukraine. The demand in semiconductors this year is weaker than usual, simply because of the sanctions on Russia and China. But on the other hand, the introduction of AI intelligence opened a new page on usage. One of the turning points is that, as said in last video, the PATRIOT intercepted the Russian Hypersonic missile Dagger. At first, Biden said it was almost impossible to stop it, but why can it be done? Military comments said it was because of the upgraded semiconductor of PAC-3 PATRIOT that can calculate its irregular path swiftly before it reaches the target. All at once, chips again become one of the hottest topics of the market. Samsun immediately stepped out and announced publicly that they can overtake TSMC within 5 years. Some people are in doubt, some keep a close eye upon it, and a lot of the audience asked me to elaborate my opinion. Let's look at the chart of market share. TSMC is still the largest, which occupies 55% in Q1 of 2021 and gradually goes to 59% of Q1 in 2023. While Samsung even is the second largest market share, it shrank from 50% to 30% in the same period. People are credited for the extension of new factories of TSMC in Arizona and expected the capacity to double in the next few years. New plants in Japan and Korea will have various focuses, and negotiations in Europe are on the way. Let's look at another chart. It shows the revenue of TSMC is increasing, especially from 3 to 10 nm. That is the deep blue color on top of the bars. It has increased to nearly 50% of the revenue. Above all, when comparing with other major manufacturers, the capital spending of TSMC is the largest. That means when they are leading, others are hard to chase up. But why is Samsung so confident in it? It is because of this table. The capital expenditure of Samsung rose from minus 4.9% in 2022 to 6.4% of 2023, while in same period TSMC dropped from 90.9% to -6%. But for actual figure, TSMC is 34.0 billion and Samsun just 12.4 billion. TSMC is more than double of Samsun. What really make this happen? Because Samsun has a project called Killing Taiwan by headhunting projects that gives more than double pay to engineers of TSMC to shift them to Samsun. But the problem is solved when the retired CEO Morris Chen puts on his armor and shield to fight the battle again. The successful development of the Arizona plant gives hopes to those technicians that they can get a green card in the US, which is much better than residence in South Korea or double pay. Meanwhile, TSMC is supported by two universities in Taiwan, which are the National Taiwan University and National Tsinghua University, both for development and for fresh postgrad manpower. The National Tsinghua University is different from Tsinghua University in Beijing. They are two different universities with no relation at all. Even the one in Beijing is more famous and has a higher ranking, but they cannot generate another TSMC. Also, the universities in South Korea or worldwide famous universities, even they have a higher ranking, but still cannot establish a foundry to replace the TSMC. So those that wish to purchase the TSM stocks can buy at low now. Even the global market is not as furious as the previous year, but because of the demand of AI intelligence, electric cars, auto driving, and air taxi, the demand still exists, and the focus will be on market share of each individual foundry. Above all, they have the largest client, which is Apple. I have already disclosed that Apple had established a secret base in Taiwan. This means that TSMC is holding the largest client on earth and has much revenue for development. As for Ukraine's situation, China has sent an ambassador to ask them to stop fighting, but after consulting the attempts, Ukraine treated him as a person to ask Ukraine to surrender and cede the land to Russia, so would not accept those terms. China is unable to ask Russia to withdraw the troops as 200,000 Russian soldiers already died in the military action, and it is quite hard to ask Russia to go back empty-handed without gaining any land. That's how to face the general citizens. It is even harder to ask the winning side, that's Ukraine, to surrender and give up the counter-offensive, though the progress is so slow. At the peak time, 20% of Ukrainian land was occupied and now just get back 3% and still 70% has to fight for. It is impossible to stop the fighting now until either side is on the eve of total collapse. They will call for peace talk. Without the F16, Ukraine cannot have air supremacy. Even the PATRIOT can prevent the attack of Russian planes and missiles, so Ukraine need not afraid of the losing any land again. But if they want to launch a comprehensive counter-offensive, must wait for the arrival of F16. But the training of pilots takes 2 to 3 years. Please refer to video 70 at 2023-0206. The decisive battle will be in the summer solstice of June 21st. Even Ukraine said that spring counter-attack will start in April. Even NATO said 98% of the supplies had already got ready. But I said it would launch out after May the 6th, start of summer, and it really did. So let's have a review of the market. Who says sell in May and go away? Who says May is poor? I've already pointed out that those hearsays are not trustworthy. When you want to have a further and deeper understanding of the market and predict the future precisely, the best way is to use financial astrology and Chinese geomancy. But don't think it can be done by consulting several essays only. The study of financial astrology equals to a PhD course in the university, and geomancy is equals to a postdoctorate study after that. You can use the AI intelligence of OpenAI and Bang, Google, and Bing to search and see how many people will combine the Eastern geomancy and Western financial astrology in the US stock market. If you cannot find out, do not be disappointed. We have a daily report known as the US Stock Express on this website, and also have 14 teaching videos and with certain tests and philosophical questions as on what to think about. Now, I strongly suggest readers and audience to improve your military knowledge so as to grasp hold of the progress of the fighting, such as NATO said their supplies were 98% ready in April. Why did I still say the decisive battle is in late June? Because the 2% missed is the F16, which has 98% of the fire strength. This is the underlying focus, so don't just look at things superficially. When viewing the heat map chart of S&P, we can see the past 7 days are majoring in green color, especially on the top 5 of NASDAQ. NASDAQ is transforming from Ursa Minor to Ursa Major pattern, and breakthrough occurred on May the 10th, which is set as after the start of summer on May 6th. It has been already above the watershed of bull market, which is 12105, and leading the market to go up. As for S&P, already said numerous times that the false pattern of head and shoulders on selling means a general pattern of buying, and is now above the watershed of 4189. The hardest block of learning chart analysis is to distinguish true and false signals. It needs great confidence to buy when facing a selling signal. In video 25-2023-0403, I even asked the ChatGPT to write a poem on the false head and shoulder pattern. So let's have a review of the top 5 of NASDAQ components. Apple is in a nice rising trend of awakening of hibernation on March 6th. Microsoft formed a double bottom after the awakening of hibernation and runs in a nice trend. Amazon started the rising trend around the same time and had a jumping gap after the start of summer. NVDA goes on a horizontal platform and jumps up after start of summer. Google had a double bottom and in awakening of hibernation and rocket up after the start of summer. For conservative buyers who want to buy at low price, you can try the banking stocks like BAC and USB when you think the crisis is over. As for high dividend stocks, please refer to 2 videos, which are video 12 2023-0102 and video 2022-1024. For Jerome Powell, he clearly stated there won't be any changes in interest rate in June, which means the rate hike cycle ends, and when the debt ceiling crisis is over, there will be a new heaven and earth. So subscribe, like and share. Please, sayonara, auf Wiedersehen, adieu, bye bye, see you next week.